I was a creative director and I love that suit. I think if I didn't push for it, it wouldn't be in the game. The team loved that stuff when it came through, and we might have been a skitch disappointed when it didn't go that direction. So there's this moment where you think you're going to get to do a Spider-Man game. You haven't seen what the movie Spider-Man is going to look like yet, but then you see this Alex Ross like black suit. I think we had to get special permission to include it, but because it was given to us as part of the stuff, we were allowed to. I had hoped that was going to be the Spider-Man costume. I liked it so much.
Just diving back to, or like sparking back off to whenever you said that you got the pieces of the Goblin suit and the Toby suit. Mm-hmm. Just to digress, as a fan, that would have been amazing to come into work and be like, oh yeah, here's a piece of the Goblin armor and Spider-Man suit. But yeah, so just kind of stemming off that, what was the reason for including the Alex Ross suit and the Alex Ross Goblin suit? I mean, it's awesome, but what was the reason behind that? Because I believe, well, from what I've read online, the Alex Ross was the prototype to the Toby suit, or else it was an alternate choice. But yeah, just what was your experience on that?
Yeah, so my recollection of this was right at the time when we found out that we were going to be doing a movie license, or this movie, it was going to turn into the Spider-Man the movie game as opposed to just doing a Spider-Man game. I don't know if it was leaked online or whether it was just released because it wasn't going to get used. But we saw those images, and I'm a huge Alex Ross fan, being an illustrator, and I really love his work. And so I was already kind of like aware of him, and then seeing, that stuff showed up online before we were given it from Sony. And we saw that, and I loved it at the time. So there's this moment where you think you're going to get to do a Spider-Man game. You haven't seen what the movie Spider-Man is going to look like yet, but then you see this Alex Ross like black suited, with the red, without the webbing, and it was very iconic. And I got really excited, like, oh, that's going to be really cool. And so we kind of started to even work up those ideas, and then within a day or two, not long, we saw what the real suit was going to look like, with the raised webbing and all of that. And it was cool and interesting. It was a little bit at the time like, wow, raised webbing on a suit, that seems a little weird and different. And it had this sort of like silvery kind of edge quality to the raised webbing. It was just, so I was a fan of his stuff, and then what happened was that Alex Ross's work, I think, was done for the movie, and but then, like you said, they didn't go that direction, and so it was given us to use as just part of the material because, like I said, they gave us a ton of like photography and support through the making of it, including it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask.
I was just going to say, including giving us those images from the Alex Ross that people were seeing online, and because we had these different skins that we could play, we thought, I was a creative director and I loved that suit. I think if I didn't push for it, it wouldn't be in the game. But I had hoped that was going to be the Spider-Man costume. I liked it so much, and so we found a way when we had these other skins, to have, I don't remember if we had like a classic comic book skin that you could play in that game. But I know that we could load up like other Spidey, suits. And so we were, that was just an extra one that we were able to tie in at the end because I think we had to get special permission to include it, but because it was given to us as part of the stuff, we were allowed to. So
did you get the Alex Ross stuff? Was it just like reference photos, or was it like the physical stuff so you could see materials?
Oh no, it was just his renderings. Just basic color printouts of his renderings.
Yeah.
And I mean, he renders pretty realistically, right? So you can kind of tell when something is sort of satin or whether something is leather or spandex. You can kind of in his painting style, you can kind of glean that stuff.
Yeah.
So we just tried to, capture that as well, best
Yeah,
we
no,
could.
I know in the final game, the Alex Ross Goblin suit. I mean, I think it looks legitimately badass, like a lot more into the horror-esque element, like
Yeah.
legitimately badass.
I would be lying if I said the team loved that stuff when it came through, and we might have been a skitch disappointed
Really.
when it didn't go that direction. With the hard suited goblin mask was kind of a lot to take in at the time.
It was
In
a
that
big.
moment, it felt
It was one of the
I don't
critiques
know.
of the film. If I recall,
Yeah,
people didn't like that it was. Well, yeah, that it was a hard mask. Obviously, now it's loved and Willem Dafoe is loved, but
sure.
back then, people wanted the the movable mouth, and I think you can see stuff online of the prototype. I don't know if it's the
Yeah.
Alex stuff or if it's just the prototype of the much more the goblin mask that moves that looks a lot more horror.
Yeah, I mean they went through a process of
Yeah,
trying to figure out what their goblin was going to be. To me, it felt a little too much like Power Rangers kind of thing, and having an actor having to try to like act through that kind of suit was tough. It's like Judge Dredd, right, with Sylvester Stallone throughout the movie. He
yeah,
barely wears the helmet, but like, come on, it's like it doesn't even feel like Judge Dredd when you're not wearing the helmet.
yeah. No, Willem definitely. It's Willem's use of his voice. If it's like whenever people like yourself when listening to like people talk, like generally it's a lot flatter, but like Willem's like background in theater and how he like uses the words, it really, really, really it conveys so well. Obviously in No Way Home, where it's just like we're just using your face because it's awesome. But even with the mask on, yeah, Willem's just badass. But with the mask on,
Yeah,
Willem still did a phenomenal job of conveying the sinisterness of the goblin.
that's how we were able to use it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And then I'm deeply curious about the Spider-Man 3 that never got to be. So you had, was it 2 weeks working on it, before you were told, oh, it's a movie game now?
I don't remember. It was 2 weeks, a couple of weeks,
Some,
might have been a month or something like that. I mean, we started off where we were just going to be doing a sequel. I don't know that the release date had been announced at that point of it being a 6 month thing. That I think that really came about because of the movie tie-in. And so we were just, we were going to be doing the Spider-Man game, and our thought was we'll do this first one with the Neversoft engine. We'll give it a new coat of paint, and then we'll get our Treyarch engine able to do a Spider-Man game. And so the one following on, we'll leave the Neversoft engine behind, and we'll switch Spidey on to our engine and go forward, which is actually what did eventually happen. Um, yeah.
yeah. I'm curious. Did you have any of the story written out, or was it just, or I guess how long
Yeah,
in
I mean,
development did the game get to?
yeah, I mean, it like I said, it became the movie game pretty quickly on, because if you're dealing with a 6 month release, if you take 1 month away, now you're only dealing with 5 more months before it's going to be on the stands out there for people to buy, right? That's a very short turnaround. And so again, within a couple of weeks, I think maybe even the first week or so, we had kind of a rough framework of a game story in mind of kind of all the bad guys are coming into New York City to take out Spider-Man, and maybe there's a one big mastermind behind the whole thing, was kind of like the crux of what our story was going to be, and just trying to have classic Spidey bad guys that were all kind of working together. And so you'd have these different chapters, these different levels where they would be sort of themed out to go against that. And, we were able to have Craven, we were able to have Scorpion and Vulture. And we did our best to kind of, marry them, together into the game. Like we had this origin movie story happening, and we had all of these other Spidey bad guys that we wanted to have, and almost an assumption of like, oh yeah, we don't want to retell the origin, but here we are. I don't think in Spidey 3 we wouldn't have taken the time. We would have, like, the origin would have been a little quick cutscene at the beginning, and then we would have just dove into the game. But because the movie was so like, well, this is a first sort of relaunch of Spidey, it's going to be focused on his origin story. So it was just trying to work that stuff in, have the wrestler have the wrestling suit, have that his evolution of Spidey becoming the Spider-Man that we all know and love, trying to have that be in the game. But yeah, we had that initial idea of all these bad guys coming into the city to take out Spider-Man early on. Like I said, within the first week, 10 days, something like that. And then we found out what it was really going to be, and it was like, well, we've done this work, and we only have a certain amount of the Spidey movie stuff to deal with, and we have this 6-month deadline. So it was kind of just push those things together and see how we could kind of lock it up and make a good game out of it, using classic Spider-Man stuff to kind of fill out the game levels and give you more than this origin story of Green Goblin and Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Did you have any I guess working title names for the third game that you can recall? No.
I don't think it was even named at that point, other than it was going to be the new Spider-Man game. That probably would have happened towards the end of the product or middle. Marketing would have got involved and said, okay, it's going to be called the whatever. I don't know. But at that point, it became the movie game. Like I said, just a couple of weeks in, and everything sort of shifted.
Yeah. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, support the channel on Ko-fi and Patreon. And if you didn't enjoy the video, like, comment, subscribe, support the channel on Ko-fi and Patreon. Right, good luck.